So, anyways, Charles Sorensen, his parents brought him over from Sweden.
Okay.
Okay, and he ends up working as a pattern maker, and he ends up at the Ford Motor Company with Henry Ford and several partners back then, the Dodge brothers. I did not know this, but anyways, I decided to find this book, My 40 Years at Ford, by Charles Sorensen. Hard to find. I paid like almost $40 for this paperback, okay, because I wanted to hear his side of it. It's fun to read. First thing I learned is Henry Ford couldn't read blueprints.
Right. I remember that.
Okay.
Didn't they try to interview him and prove that he was an idiot? And he's like, I know enough to find the right person to do it. Like,
Right.
I can't remember the quote, but
Well, anyways, he as a pattern maker, he would make the patterns for Mr. Ford to see in 3D what he was really looking at. Okay, so it's a perfect marriage. So Sorensen's a smart guy. He's working his way up and basically becomes. Ford didn't like titles, but he was like the vice president of manufacturing, and he ends up being the one that builds the bomber plant, Willow Run, and he's the one that comes up with the systems to pretty much build these one an hour. All right. And then he writes this book in 1956. So this is an old book. So it's fun. But the reason I'm bringing that up is talk about a little bit of a history repeating itself over 100 years later. They had a little bit of a manufacturing crisis back then, too, because nobody knew how to do it. They had to find people and train them. So they had their own schools at Ford Motor Company to train you how to do your job. Now, if you were on the production line, maybe not so much. But I know Willow Run definitely to put together the bombers and the gun mounts, and they taught you how to do that. And there's no doubt in my mind, if you worked in the pattern shop or the tool shop, that you were definitely trained, right? They were doing, I mean, crazy, like 13 die changes an hour or something at that Willow Run plant. Wow.
It is always amazing to me to see the huge feats of engineering, mechanics, and things like that they were able to do with none of the stuff that we have today.
No computers, no calculators.
Yep.
Not even a calculator to calculate your die bends.
Hey, I'm Nate Wheeler. I am the host of Manufacturing Insiders Podcast. Really want to thank you for joining today. I hope that you learned some really great insights from this manufacturing leader that you're about to hear from. I also hope that you'll go ahead and hit that like button on the video and subscribe to our channel so you can see more of the stuff that comes out as we're continuing to publish content. Every like, every subscribe really helps us get this message out. And the message that we're sharing is really just a message of hope for manufacturers. I understand, I work with you guys every day. I understand how many different obstacles are in your faces, from technology to government regulations to competition from foreign and domestic markets. And I really want to share strategies with you on how to deal with these issues. And I think there's no better way to learn than hearing directly from somebody that solves some of these challenges. Thanks for watching today, and look forward to seeing you soon.
So we were in the same boat these guys were. I'm not, you can see my fancy bookmark there. One day they went to the plant, and it was a Sunday, and a bunch of machines weren't running. And Ford asked Charles, what's the problem? And he said, nobody showed up. And we're having trouble getting employees. And Ford looked at him and says, well, Charlie, maybe you need to make your own. And he said, that really was a novel idea. Why don't we start making our own people?
Right.
To bring them in, train them to be Ford men.
Yeah.
All right. I love that concept.
Yeah.
And that's back where we kind of started this conversation, right? The apprenticeships. So I still haven't wrapped my head around it to fix it, if I could, because I'm not quite sure of what the problem is, because I don't know enough about how we're doing it. I guess I need to find out what the tech school's doing. I know McDowell's got a pretty cool little program going out there right now.
Yep.
But it's and I say not as a criticism, but it's still not a manufacturing environment, right? Where there's deadlines to be made, and you've got to get these parts right, or you're going to get fired.
Right.
And that's part of school. I understand it. I still believe there's nothing like you walk into a company and it's just overwhelming, right? If I was going to do a training program, the first thing I would do is have our sales department get a picture of 25 to 50 of our products and where they go on the part. We just see these things as these parts. What's it even do?
Yep.
It says battery clamp. What battery? For who? For what?
I'm always shocked. I'm shocked to shit. So I walk through these manufacturing operations and I'm curious. I'm like, well, what is that going? Like, what is that for? I actually don't know. And I'm like, what? How do you not know? How can your curiosity? How can your mind handle
Years
that?
ago, I was at the GE plant in Grove City, and I was watching one of their engines being tested, and there was some of the stuff I built, and it made so much more sense to me to see it.
Which
So,
I agree.
I am 100% a guy about the overview. I like people to understand where we're going.
Yep.
Let me take you where we're going, then I'll show you how to get there.
Yep.
And like my wife and I are going to go to France this year, so
nice.
she's really hyping me up on the videos of where we're going.
Yeah.
So I have an understanding of what I'm going to experience, and then it gets more exciting to me. And I feel the same way. If I feel like if you're new employees, whether kids or adults, if the company took the time sometimes to give them an overview and say, this is what we do here.
Yep.
Okay. These are our best customers, and this is where some of our parts go. And I don't think any of our customers would have a problem with that.
No.
Because if it was explained to them right, this is why we're doing this.
Yep.
You're an important customer to us, and we want our employees to know, hey, that's important what you're working on.
Right.
That's going on this engine or this vehicle or this apparatus. And that's the first thing. Second thing I would do for any employee after I did that is give them an in-depth tour of the shop, all 4 facilities. Now they start to see, okay, this is where we do it, how it, you're not going to learn how we do it yet, but now you're getting a grasp. You're not just in the corner all day testing pipes. The pipes get here, they go to the welder, they go here, they go there, and you end up testing them, and then they get painted and shipped.
Yeah.
I think the guy that's water testing the pipes would benefit from a little bit of an overview.
Yeah, knowing what's
of
the next step in the process,
exactly.
what's the previous step in the process.
Because we always have this line in manufacturing, the next person in line on that part is the customer. So a lot of parts get turned up and then they're sent to me. I'm the customer now. Then they leave me and they go to maybe somewhere else.
Right.
Powder coating. If I put scratches and dings all over my part, not thinking about my customer, the powder coating department, they can't paint them because they're gonna look horrible.
Yeah,
They're gonna
I
be
like
painted
that
nicks.
concept. Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's a concept that needs to be taught.
Right.
So there's a lot. We're covering a lot of ground here, but I have a basic, idea in my head. But it doesn't have to be a 4-year apprenticeship. I could definitely put together an easy 2-year one, and even a 3-month for any employee.
Yeah, just
any company in Erie in manufacturing. I believe I had 3 months, and I'll tell you, I interviewed a fellow several years ago, a great guy in Dayton, Ohio, John Shirk. He owns a little gauge repair company.
Okay.
And he's a great guy. He's repaired some of my stuff. We met online through the Tool and Die guy, whatever. I've never met him personally. But I interviewed him about how he got involved. Well, he worked in a tool shop for years. And the tool maker that taught him happened to be also a watchmaker.
Okay.
So he really...
very precise, right?
Yeah. But I said, John, how'd you get into this business, the trade? Well, I'll tell you how I got into trade. He says, when I was a teenager, he says, Dayton, Ohio, he said, one of my summer jobs was helping work for this company. And what we were doing is helping people that had we were very high end. They had copper gutters, and they needed cleaned or repaired, and we did that because back then copper gutters were around, right?
Yeah.
And tile roofs and things like that. And he says, well, one day they said, meet us down at this building downtown. So it was like 14 stories or whatever, kind of probably like our Renaissance. He says, I go there, and they said, go up to the 14th floor, and I'll show you what you're going to do. They go out to the clock and clean the pigeon poop off. I'm not doing it. I quit. I am not doing that. So he's going down the elevator. He says, my dad's going to kill me. I don't have this job. So he went to the newsstand, and just like we had here, the little newsstand at the bottom of the building, and he got want ads and saw somebody who was looking for an apprenticeship in a completely different part of town. He got on the bus, went over there, never been on that side of town before. The guy hired him. And he tells really fun stories. It's a good interview I did with him, just not for my part, but the stories.
Yeah.
Smart young guy owned this company, and they started their own school that was so successful, other shops were sending their kids there. They just got together as almost a co-op. Okay, now, I know there are people that are smarter than me, I think they are, that would say, that's what the tech school's for. That's what the night school's for. That's our co-op.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not the same. Because the right people, I talked to the person that was teaching machine shop at City Tech, and she had 10 or 12 kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, how many of these kids will go into it? Maybe 2.
What?
Yeah. And I said, why? She said, most of them can't find a way to get to work. That was the answer I got. I'm not criticizing it. I'm just putting it. That's the answer I got. So are these kids really passionate about manufacturing, or is that's a class that was open and they learned how to run a lathe?
I think you find a way to get to work if you want to go to work.
Okay, so I think I drive a lot of people nuts because I love the stories, walking around Henry Ford books, because there's lessons in here.